On this episode of Citizens, we get to meet some of the amazing volunteers at the Dartmouth SPCA. We'll visit with some of the animals in need of homes and learn all about ways to get involved and help support this wonderful non-for-profit organization as it fights to save animals across the province. Last time on Citizens, I had the opportunity to meet some of the staff at the Dartmouth Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Today, I was eager to talk with a few of the volunteers and find out ways that I could get involved. First up, I spoke with the Provincial Fund Development Coordinator, Taylor, to find out how she first got started.
One of the big things about the Nova Scotia SPCA is that we don't receive any government funding to support our day-to-day operations here at the shelters. So we really rely on the community to really come together to help support these animals in need. There's so many different ways to get involved. I actually started out with the Nova Scotia SPCA by coming every single Saturday and Sunday to just walk dogs. We were living in an apartment building. And we couldn't have a dog of our own, but we really wanted to get involved with the SPCA. So we would come here, cuddle with them, walk them, play with them. And then whenever the job kind of came up, it's like, oh my gosh, this is my dream role. And so I was very excited to get involved with the SPCA. So there's a ton of different ways that people could start that as well. So they could start with volunteering. And with volunteering, you can be here at the shelter. We actually have 4 SPCA thrift stores throughout the province, so you can volunteer that way as well. For people if they have allergies or something, that could be a good way that they can give back to the animals. Another way is through fostering. So with fostering, we supply everything that you need, and you kind of are a virtual shelter for these animals. So it's just because some animals need maybe a little bit more TLC than some others. They might just be too itty-bitty to go up for adoption just yet. So you kind of open up your home and your heart to these animals, and we supply you with everything: the bedding, the food, the litter, the vet care, absolutely everything. And they kind of paid their rent and cuddles. It's kind of amazing. Yeah. So that's a great way to give back. And then another big way is through donating. So through donating supplies, we have a top 10 item wish list that we can share with you guys as well. And that could be just the top 10 items that we need here at the shelter to keep things running. So it could be everything from non-clumping kitty litter to bleach to food to treats, all that good stuff. And then donating, because we don't receive any government funding, we really rely on funds to keep this place running. It takes over $70,000 monthly to keep this place going.
If I was interested in going about making donations to the shelter, how would I do that?
Oh my gosh, we would love you. So one of the best ways I say is through our monthly donation program. So we have a program called PAW. It's kind of a fun name for pre-authorized withdrawal. So it's through monthly donations that we know that we can prepare for the future and know that we will be here for years to come, and that we can plan these progressive programs to try to get to the root of the problem of why these animals are injured, abused, abandoned outside. So with monthly donations, I mean, even $5 or $10 a month, it truly makes a difference. So we do have a low-cost spay-neuter program where we do have our animal hospital here. I'm so excited to show you guys because it truly is phenomenal. And it's a big way that we are able to do the surgeries at, sometimes it's a third of the cost. And it's the reason why we can try to keep our costs low and really maximize donor funding to the fullest. So with that, we do have our low-cost spay-neuter programs to try to, I guess, get to the root of the problem so that there aren't any accidents. We really want to help people that maybe can't afford the service, but they do want to be a responsible pet owner and make sure that their pet is there and healthy and happy for years to come. So that's one of the cool ways that we have. We do have rehoming services as well, of course. So if someone has like an oops or an accident, accidental litter, we can actually bring in the puppies or kittens. We will spay and neuter them, look after them, and find them forever families. And they will actually spay the mom for free.
What sorts of animals do you see come through the door on a daily basis?
Oh my gosh, so many. So it's mainly cats and dogs. We usually see about 9 cats per 1 dog. And that's just because in Nova Scotia, we are fighting a little bit of a cat overpopulation problem. We are helping with that with our trap, neuter, return program here. We're trying to get that under control, but it's usually about, I'd say probably 9 cats to 1 dog. And then we see itty bitty critters as well. So we've had hamsters, we've had bunnies a lot of the time. We even had a rooster one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh yeah. Every day it's a different day for sure. So we are proudly open admission and no kill. So we will take in any animal in immediate need of shelter. So regardless of their gender, health concerns, breed, age, anything like that, we will take them in and we will give them the TLC that they need before they can find their forever family. And we're proudly no kill. So we do not euthanize for space or for convenience. So people can confidently know that they can bring their animals here and we will look after them. They will be safe, happy, and healthy, and they will go on to find their forever family. So it could just be that they're dropped off here because there's a change in their lifestyle. So they could have an allergy, someone could be moving, anything like that. Absolutely no judgment at all. Please bring them here. There are alternatives.
What would you say to somebody who might be hesitant about bringing their animal here?
Honestly, to come to any of our shelters and really see what we're all about. I'm sure once they come in and they see a nice friendly face, completely no judgment, that they'll know that they're going to bring their animal to a great spot and that they're going to find a great family that's going to take care of them. And we always get some great adoption stories as well. So we're always happy to share those with the families too.
And where do you see yourself in the future with the SPCA?
Here, of course. I absolutely love it here at the SPCA. Every day is different, and every animal, like I said, they have their own stories, but it truly is rewarding, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for the SPCA here.
Thanks so much for talking with me today, Taylor. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. We're excited to have you guys here, and I'm sure that there's lots of kitties and puppies here to give you guys some slobbery thank you kisses. So thank you guys.
I'm so excited. Thanks so much. Then Taylor showed me one of the cat rooms where some adorable kitties were waiting to be adopted.
So we can get to know Reese a little bit here.
Next up on Citizens, we talk to one of the volunteers at the SPCA and find out what keeps her coming back. And we meet some of the adorable cats waiting to be adopted. After meeting a few of the animals available for adoption, I spoke with Tara. I wanted to find out more about her experiences as a volunteer and what being an adoption counselor was all about.
So as an adoption counselor, I greet people at the door as they come into the shelter and basically thank them for choosing the SPCA. I'll give them a tour of the cat rooms if they're looking to cuddle cats or adopt a cat, or I'll tell them about the dogs and our dog walking processes, and then I'll go out back to the kennels and leash up the dog and take them out for the public to meet. If the meet goes okay, sometimes we have dogs that are a little bit nervous and they don't, some dogs sometimes don't like people wearing hats or people with beards. So I'll do that kind of soft introduction. If that goes well, I'll tell them the rules for walking the dog and out they go. If anybody is interested in adopting one of our animals, I'll pull the animal's file and give them any information that we have. So we do give them all the information that we do have except for any personal information. So any medical, behavioral food requirements, anything like that. And then I help them fill out the paperwork. Then I'll process the adoption, so give them all the paperwork that they need for their free vet visit, their animal adoption waiver, answer any of their questions. So anything that they need to take the animal home.
And how many positions here at the SPCA are volunteer positions?
There are obviously adoption counselors like me, and then we have dog care folks who will come in and clean the dog kennels, socialize with the dogs. Sometimes they do like obedience, teach them tricks, like give a paw, all those things that make them a little bit more adoptable, a little bit more attractive to people. They'll do the feeding, that kind of thing. And we have on the same side, or on the opposite side, the same thing with the cats, where they'll clean the kennels, they'll pat the cats, they'll do the feeding, that kind of thing. We also have volunteers that work in the office. So they enter all the paperwork that is generated from all the adoptions, all the medical, all that stuff gets processed by volunteers in our office. And then, of course, we also have volunteers from the public who don't come in and do a structured shift. You can drop in anytime the shelter is open and cuddle the cats or take a dog for a walk. So as long as you're 16 years or over, you can hold the leash for the dog, and there is no age to come in and cuddle cats. And that's really important because sometimes cats come into us and they've never, interacted with a small child. So having, children come in, or men with beards, or again, people with hats. In the wintertime, people come in with, big jackets, puffy jackets, and it gets the animals, comfortable with the things that they're going to be seeing potentially in their new home. So those public drop-ins, volunteers are really important too.
How did you become interested in starting to volunteer with the SPCA?
I adopted one of my dogs from the SPCA back in March of 2012, and he was just like a scrumptious, fluffy little muffin. And I had such a positive experience there, and doing that. Liz, who works still over at the shelter, and Heather, who's over here at the provincial office, made the experience just so amazing for me. I had so many questions, and they were so patient, and like my whole experience was just so positive.
And you've been volunteering here for so long. Why have you continued to stay?
This is like, I enjoy my job, my real life job, but I do it for a paycheck. This is what I do for my mental health and for my soul. It just makes me so happy. I feel like when I walk in the door, like I'm with my people. We're very like-minded here. We're all about the animals. We all kind of celebrate the successes together, and we kind of, support each other in the rougher times. And it's just such a great place to volunteer. Talking to the people, I love to talk to people about animals. I love to interact with the animals. I love to just go in the cat rooms and see empty cages, to know that all these guys have gone home. I love seeing how passionate the staff are and how hard they work and how much they love every little animal that comes through our doors. And it just makes me feel so good. It's such a great place to volunteer, and to know that you're helping, these animals who have kind of fallen on rough times, helping them find a second chance. And we always tell people, any animal that I send home, I'm like, we always like to see updates. Send us pictures. And seeing those pictures of the animals settled into their new home with their new, human families or their new fur siblings, it's just amazing. It makes all the kind of hard days really worthwhile to see those, success stories.
What's the best part for you about volunteering here at the SPCA?
The best part, I think, is seeing the animals who have been here for longer than we would like finally find their home. The SPCA in Nova Scotia is a no-kill shelter, which is super, super important because nobody's on a timeline here. Sometimes people come in and they say, well, if I don't adopt this cat, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. The cat is going to stay on the adoption floor until they find their forever home. So, and the same thing with dogs. Sometimes dogs come in and they're looking for a particular home. So, a home with no other animals, and a home for with no small children, just because they've been under-socialized and they don't know maybe how big they are. They could easily knock a child over. So those ones tend to stay with us a little bit longer. But when we find the perfect home, and they just fit in so well. There's a couple that come to mind. We've had Hunter in the last couple of months, who was an Amstaff mix, beautiful boy, working on his manners a little bit, but did finally find his forever home. We had Nellie a couple of years ago, another Amstaff mix, where her perfect family drove all the way from Cape Breton to meet her and took her home the same day. And we were just, that was a big celebration for us, because we were worried that, maybe she'd be there even longer. But they all do find a home, and especially those long-termers, those ones really feel good when they finally go home. Ideally, it would be really great if we could all just work ourselves out of a job and there's no more homeless cats, there's no more homeless dogs. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see more animals be able to stay in their home. I think it would be great if Nova Scotia had, more pet-friendly rental properties. We see, that a lot. That animals come in because their owner has no chance but to move and they can't take their animals with them. So I think, eventually for the province not to need us, or maybe not to need us as much as they do, I'd love to see that.
Next up on Citizens, we talk with one of the volunteer fosters. And we sit down with Taylor to meet two very special kittens. After speaking with Tara about what inspired her to volunteer with the SPCA, I sat down with one of the volunteer fosters, Fiona. So who do we have here with us today?
This is Kit. She's a little 3-week-old little female. I don't know her history, I'm not sure where she came from, but she is a bottle baby, so she needs to be in an incubator, and she needs to be completely fed by bottle until she's ready to eat solid foods. But where she's only 3 weeks, it's going to be a little while.
Right.
Yeah, she's just starting to learn how to walk, aren't she, baby? Yeah.
What do you do as a volunteer foster?
Basically, they will send out an email and they'll say we have some cats and kittens, groups of cats and kittens, or maybe just one or two at a time, that need a little bit of attention or needs some time to grow. So we come and we pick them up. The foster parents come, we pick them up, we get all their supplies, and then we just take them home and we monitor their health. We feed them, we love them, socialize them. We just take care of them until they're big enough. They have to be these guys have to be 1 kilo before they're ready to be spayed and neutered, before they're ready to go. So we have to make sure that they're big enough to go and they're healthy enough to go. So if they have any health issues, we have to wait until they're finished on their medication, when they're better. And then they can come back and get their surgeries and go on the adoption floors. So the SPCA supplies everything that you need for your fosters, from the litter and the food to the toys, the beds, the litter boxes, the medicine, they supply all the medicine. A lot of people think you have to pay for it, but you don't. But I don't take the food and the litter from them. I supply that myself. That's just one of the ways I give back to them, because they get no funding. So it's all volunteer, it's all private funds. So that's what I do.
How important do you think the SPCA is to have in our community?
Oh, without it, this little kitten wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Without it, there'd be a lot of animals that wouldn't make it. So it's extremely important.
Thanks so much for speaking with me, Fiona. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to Kit as well. Next, I sat down with Taylor and had the opportunity to meet two very special kittens that had recently been rescued.
We have Chicky and we have Livy. So these two kitties, they actually came up all the way from Yarmouth.
Okay.
So they were part of a hoarding situation up there. So you will see that Chicky has some stuff going on with one of the paws and with her tail. So we're gonna have that looked at, get an X-ray done, and figure out if that's something that she can work with, or if need be, we may have to have a medical procedure where we might have to amputate it. So with these two cuties, they're actually just two of thousands of animals that we're going to get in every single year. And especially right now where it is kitten season, along with their cuteness, they bring a lot of additional expenses.
Yeah.
So every animal that comes into the SPCA, they are all medically treated. They're all seen by the vet. They all get the microchip. They're all spayed and neutered and ready to go up. And with that, we end up investing about $650 per animal, and that really, really adds up. Every animal is different, so it kind of depends on what their story is. So sometimes if they came from a rescue situation where they were neglected, they might have a lot of costs associated with rehabilitating them and working one-on-one to make sure that they're ready for the next stage in life. But some animals, they come in and they're ready to find their next family just like that. So every animal is different, but where we are no-kill, we end up taking on a lot of medical costs.
Yeah.
So it is a combination of people that are donating even just a one-time donation, monthly donations, some businesses, some fundraisers, special events, those sorts of things. And then another big avenue is actually through bequests. So people that leave generous donations in their wills to the SPCA, that is an amazing legacy you love to leave.
Yeah.
And then we also have 4 SPCA thrift stores throughout the province, which are phenomenal. So people can go and shop and be thrifty, and then all of those donations actually come back to help local animals in need. So with Chicky, what will end up happening is she will end up going in for hamming it up for the camera. So Chicky will go in and have an x-ray done just to see if that is something that she's able to kind of work with as she grows older. But if need be, I mean, she may have to have it amputated just to make sure that she has the best quality of life moving forward. So with that, we will cover all the costs associated with rehabilitating and rehoming these animals. So these two are just, I mean, a great example of how enforcement worked with them, because where they were a hoarding situation, with their transport system, being able to bring them up here to Dartmouth where they will be able to find homes a lot quicker, where there were so many animals that were brought in at one time up in Yarmouth. And that we are proudly no-kill. And so we are going to work with them to make sure that they are safe, happy, and healthy, and ready for their next stage in their life.
With the adoption cost, does that go towards any of sort of the larger costs that you have here? Are you making anything off of that?
I wish. So we do end up investing about $650 per animal that comes into the SPCA.
Okay.
With that, with the adoption fee, it only ends up being about 20% of overall operational costs for the SPCA. So it is a little bit, but not quite enough for sure. We definitely need to work hard to raise the money to care for these little cuties.
Definitely. Taylor, do you think it'll be hard for Chicky to find a home with her condition?
So we will make sure that we're pairing her up with a family that's suited to what her needs will be. So with that, we're noticing that this carpet is kind of getting caught on her claw a little bit. So we'll want to make sure that the family that she does end up going to, that they're well aware of everything that she has gone through and anything that could come up in the future, so that we're really setting them up for success, and that when they go home and that's their forever family for good.
So Chicky is an orange female cat, right? What's so special about that?
Well, usually orange kitties, they tend to be male. And so she is, oh my goodness! she is a very, very special girl, and she's gonna find a special home for sure.
Getting to know some of the amazing volunteers at the Dartmouth SPCA had been a complete joy. It's always difficult to think of an animal being mistreated or abandoned, but it's comforting to know that with the volunteer support and community donations, the SPCA is able to care for and rehabilitate these animals back to loving homes. It never ceases to amaze me how many good people there are in the world. In this day and age, when many things can seem uncertain, and it can feel hard to find what's positive in the world, it's a comfort to know that there are citizens in our communities that are going above and beyond to be the light that guides us all.